This series explores the 5 essential steps to eliminating challenging behaviors. Part 1 looked at pushing past emotional distractions to professional actions. Part 2 looked at understanding the ABCs of behavior. And Part 3 will explore how to change you, change the child, and change the consequence. Well, when dealing with challenging behaviors, it is easy to become emotional. Really? Oh, not me, and not today. But Part 1 explored how to push past those emotional reactions towards your professional actions. Part 2 used this ABC behavior planning worksheet to help us to understand the problem and the purpose behind challenging behaviors. All of these tools, as well as videos, are on teacherspayteachers.com, as well as on YouTube. Keep in mind, all the strategies that I share with you today should focus and centered around why the child is having a challenging behavior. We need to move past what they're doing to why they could potentially be doing it. So first of all, don't forget, we want to make sure that we're focusing on the reason behind the behavior. For example, a child could be biting or hitting for a variety of reasons: to gain attention, to avoid an activity, to get help, to gain sensory stimulation, or just because they think it's funny. So make sure when you're looking at these strategies that you always keep in the back of your mind the reason or reasons behind the behavior. So let's get to it. Well, the first stage of your solution should involve changing you. So here's some examples. First of all, the children don't get in line. Change how you get them in line. So adding a visual or adding tape to the floor can help support the environment. This is another example from a preschool classroom where this is the area in which they have circle time. So there were many children who were distracted by the shelves. So just adding a rug with a visual was helpful for helping the children to keep their focus. Then, once circle time was over, then all the materials can be seen clearly. Or here's another example. Many toddlers and even preschoolers hit and push because children are in their personal space. So setting up the environment, you can use tape to actually show where their space is. Teachers have also used hula hoops, for example, at block area, where they're building their block structures to show where their space is. I've known teachers to use ropes and just cut the rope and make it into a circle or a square or show a boundary. Or lastly, even using a tray with their Play-Doh on it or their structure, their drawing, to show where their space is. Even putting tape on a table can help toddlers to know not to eat each other's food, or at least it can help. If you know that in the morning children come in or the same child comes in crying, well, why don't you have tissues ready? They're consistent. Well, what are you going to do? So think about things that you can add to the environment to actually support social emotional development. Lastly, another example of changing you is that especially young children, well, they typically have challenging behaviors very often. So where is your space where they can calm themselves? Other change you examples that are on the worksheet that you can download from Teachers Pay Teachers. Use positive language. Tell children what to do, focusing on what they should be doing, walking, talking quietly. Focus is more helpful. The brain actually responds better to positive statements. Let the child choose the sequence of the activity. No, they can't choose exactly what happens, but they can choose how it happens. Use visuals. Use a timer. Spend more positive time with the child, especially when that child walks in and you're like, oh no, not you again. Aren't you ever absent? Okay. If you feel that way about a child, then you are not having positive energy, and that child knows it. So maybe just spending, I tell my teachers, 10 and 2. 10 days, 2 minutes. Spend 2 special minutes with that child, building a relationship. Otherwise, nothing's going to work. Go over the rules daily. Use first and then language. Make the environment less stimulating. In short, you can't change parents, you can't change your organization, and you can't change the new generation. But what you can change is how you do something, where you do something, add something to the environment, take something away. All of these things are things that you can do to change you. All right, let's keep on going. The next step to behavior planning is change the child. Changing the child deals with teaching that child new skills, okay? So teaching often involves activities, stories. Let me give you some examples. Peacemakers and peace breakers. This is a great one for preschool. It comes with a story called How to Be a Peacemaker. Then it actually is a visual up in the room. Yeah, yours doesn't have to be all Pinteresty like this. It can be very simplistic. But what it does is it teaches children when they're not upset. See, when they're already upset, then that's not a good time to teach. So then make sure you're doing social emotional teaching to teach all the children, but especially those children with challenging behaviors. Here's some more examples. Oh, this is a fun one. So this is emotions matching. Emotions matching, emotions bingo. Just like we do ABCs or math bingo, children have to learn about social skills. So this is a fun one. Even matching with a memory game. Teaching children what to do when they're upset. Are you actually teaching? So teaching involves pictures and songs and stories. When you're mad and you know it, walk away. When you're mad and you know it, walk away. When you're mad and you know it, when you're mad and you know it, when you're mad and you know it, walk away. All right, so songs. So, hey, you like that? Anything that is an action, a visual, a game, think about and reflect, are you doing these things? Tucker Turtle takes time to tuck and think. It's a quick social story. A social story is just a story about what you should do when you're upset. And the turtle tucks inside his shell and thinks of a solution. So he can't hit, kick, or bite anybody. So these kinds of stories can be read every day, can be read before you go outside. A calming counting box shows what to do to calm. See, telling a child who doesn't know how to calm themselves is not calming, okay? These ideas are simple. Some of them involve visuals, but a counting calming box takes 2 minutes to teach. These also should be brought to the home environment. So stories and pictures and games, something that's very interactive. Hey, just like you teach math. You don't teach math by just telling. Telling is not enough. You actually have to create activities, just like you do with language arts or with math. You create songs and games and art activities. The same thing for Change the Child. So here's some examples that are on the problem-solving worksheet that I have on Teachers Pay Teachers. One, I love Tucker the Turtle. So using any story to teach. Reading that story when the child's not upset to teach them new skills. Puppets, visuals, bingo. Oh yeah, I do love stress bingo or rule bingo. Teaching cause and effect with toys, creating a sharing center. All of these things teach children new skills. Now the last piece of the behavior eliminator is to change the consequence. Reflect on what happens when the behavior happens and how you respond. Think about how you respond. If you have a cooperating teacher or teacher assistant or paraprofessional, how they respond, and then adjusting those responses. So here are some examples. I had one teacher, and she said, well, the behavior escalates when I start talking to the child. So we added visuals. Yes, the teacher still talked, but visuals kept the child's attention, kept them focused. It was a new way to teach. Here's another example, wheel of choices. So instead of saying, don't hit, don't scream, you can actually give an appropriate wheel of choices of things that you, the children, or their parents choose they can do when they're mad, frustrated, or just sad. You can draw a picture. You can stand and breathe. You can count to 10. You can stomp. You can read a book or talk about it. But then it helps you to know how to respond, because some children don't want to talk about it until they calm down. Some children, talking about it calms them down. Other children need to scream in a pillow, and then it calms their body. So then you need to work with a child and understand what types of consequences are actually helpful. Oh, there's that Tucker turtle again. So a child can go inside that turtle shell and calm down there. For some children, it works. A calm down bottle. A calm down bottle is just water and glitter glue. And then, don't forget the most important step, to actually seal the top of the bottle with hot glue. The child can shake, 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 shake. I'm angry, I'm angry, I'm angry. And then they watch all the glitter go down in the glitter bottle. And for some children, watching that like the, kind of like a snow globe calms them. Other ways to think about, or other ideas. One, you need to think about how you're going to react when the child has the challenging behavior. But one piece of behavior planning that people forget is what you're going to do when the child does the right thing. You need to celebrate it. Well, shouldn't they do the right thing because it's the right thing to do? We're talking about a 4-year-old, so not necessarily. Maybe you can hold that same standard for adults. But children are developing social emotional skills. And because of that, they need lots of support. Also, if a child has repeated challenging behavior, doing these new skills are hard for them. For me, working out and exercising is hard. I need a lot of positive reinforcement when I do it. So, that positive reinforcement when the child is beginning to try new skills is really important. So let me show you some examples. One example I just clicked on was a little superhero. A lot of our little boys and some of our girls love superheroes. Every time they do what you want them to do. So I can walk with my class. Small skill, but takes lots of work for some children. Every time you see them, here we go. Every time you see them do the skill, they get a pow, wow. You can change that. I can raise my hand. I can use kind words. And then the more you actually see the this does a couple of things. One, it helps you collect data. It helps you collect data on how many times they did something right. And this is very critical. And it's encouraging and motivating for us. When you have a child with challenging behavior and it's very persistent, it feels like that child's always doing something wrong. So then now, after you could do it per day, or you could do it per activity. We've had children that have very challenging behaviors and they can't even get through a day. So if you have a child that has so many behaviors, doing it after each activity or transition can be really helpful. So for older children, can you get through music class? Can you get through gym? So after music, they get a power wow. Then after gym, it starts over. Then after lunch, it starts over. Some children need that much reinforcement if they have that many challenging behaviors. As you see more of the positive behavior, then you can back away from this high level of reinforcement. So this helps the child to get encouraged. I remember we had a child that was, we want the child to use kind words because they were cursing like a sailor. And so every time they used a kind word, He alerted them to it with the pow, wow. And what it did is it helped us to think about the kind words that they were trying to use. Yes, we still got some bad words throughout the day, but if you got 5 kind words, okay, maybe you got 2 bad ones, hey, they're trying. That can be encouraging to you and them. Oh, super friend cape. Because some of our kids love superheroes and at the movies, we've used that to actually encourage them. So, boy, are you a super friend. Some kids love wrestling. Ooh, you were wrestling with your emotions. Come on, get your notch on your belt. Boom. So you want to have 2 pieces to this. One, what is the consequence when they have the challenge, the wheel of choices, the Tucker turtle? The second part is when you see them doing the right thing, what are you going to do? So here are some more examples. On the road to good behavior is another one. Your car never moves backwards. It always moves forward when you do the right thing. This one was an easy one to implement because you could really individualize it. So one child's car moved down the road once. Another child's car moved down the road 6 times. It does not, okay, everybody pause, say it with me, it does not need to be equal. Here's why. Because you're going to be reinforcing different things with different kids. For example, for a shy child, you're going to be reinforcing when they talk. For the motor mouth, you're going to be reinforcing when they're quiet. And if a child has a good behavior, that's a skill. If a child has a skill, such as they're like, well, what about the kids who are doing the right thing? What kind of reinforcement do they get? You have to keep in mind, this isn't a choice, it's a skill. If a child has a skill, you do not need to reinforce it. I'm going to repeat that. If a child has a skill, you do not need to reinforce it, and they've been doing it consistently. So Johnny consistently hangs up his coat or consistently uses his words. Well, if that's consistent, the he's got it, she's got it. You don't need to reinforce a skill that someone has. You need to reinforce skills that are challenging for them so that they can keep on doing them. So on the road to good behavior is one way to give a positive consequence. Okay, some people are like, Angela, I don't see any negative consequences. And what we found from research, after almost 5 years studying how to alter behavior, negative consequences don't teach. If you have questions about that, you probably want to listen to my next part of the Eliminating Challenging Behavior series. It's coming. So here are some examples of how to change your consequence. Give attention after doing the right thing. Let the child choose the positive consequence. Show the child a social story or visual what they should be doing. Okay? Show them a picture. Talk less. Talk more. Give them a hug. Give them a break. Let them deep breathe. What we need to think about is we want to be intentional about the types of consequences that we use to support young children. And we want to individualize them. All right. Did you get some ideas? I hope so. So here's the whole behavior planning chart. First, change you. Then, change the child. Last, change the consequences. You should have at least one checked off or written down in each section. There's also a warning at the bottom. Shall we read it out loud? Oh, yeah. Too small? Yeah, let's make it bigger. Oh, whew, that's better. Warning number 1. All strategies applied should be given 4 to 6 consistent weeks to work before applying a new strategy. It takes 4 to 6 consistent weeks to create a habit. Yes, this is how human behavior works. So some of my teachers will say, didn't work. I said, well, how long did you try it? Oh, a week. A week is not enough time. And if a child is absent, you start from the beginning. And some children with special needs, it can take 8 weeks. So generally, I suggest reviewing a behavior plan every 6, and if the child has special needs, sometimes 8 weeks before making a change. Yes. Consistency does not include parenting. So parents, we don't have any control. Back to what you can actually have control over. When I say consistent, it just means at the school environment. Warning number 2. You ready? It is normal to see behavior get worse before it gets better. Yes. Children are trying to figure out what you're up to. They're like, hey, I hit people. She sends me to the office. I hang out there. And I get a break from the classroom. What's this thing visual she's doing? And puppets. So the first thing a child does is they're suspicious. They're like, well, you didn't hear me. Oh, you didn't hear me yell. Let me yell a little bit louder. Okay? And if you try pictures or visuals, yes, sometimes they end up in garbage. Oh, I've seen them floating. Yeah, floating in the toilet. So make it durable. So what I find is that teachers often abandon great ideas because they don't understand human behavior. It's just like when you change something with your significant other. Like if I just popped up and changed and started giving my husband flowers, the first thing he would say, okay, what'd you do, what'd you break, and what'd you run over? Okay. So anytime there's a change within your normal routine, people are suspicious, and children are no different. The more intense the behavior, the more intense the teen reflection. Yes, we've had children like plugs out of faces. We've had children pee on children. We've had children actually touch each other inappropriately, hitting, biting, scratching, cursing, throwing chairs, destroying furniture. Yes. In other words, we've seen it all. Our most challenging cases entailed a lot of team reflection. So it wasn't more consequence or more people or more money. It was more intensive reflection as a team. When you have challenging behaviors, you do not want to do this worksheet on your own. When I talk to myself, oh yes, I get in trouble. And you don't want to reflect alone. You want to reflect with your team as much as possible. So, you did all of this, and it still doesn't work. Now what? Well, here's the key idea. Ideas don't work. Baby, you work. You work yes. Oh, yes, RuPaul is in the house. RuPaul. You remember that song back? I think it was come on, let's find it. Work it. Do your thing in the classroom. Yeah, we're singing. Okay. So ideas don't work. You work. Idea is only as good as the person who's working it. Okay? So, a couple of ideas to consider. The child, as we discussed before, needs time to adjust to your new strategy. They need time to figure out, oh, she's serious about these visuals. And give them time to adjust. Next, honey, you need time to adjust to your own strategy. I remember the first time I used visuals, I kept dropping them. I didn't know where to put them. The way that worked for me to use visuals was on a keychain to refer to the child. So I had to get good at this strategy. So let's repeat that. You got to get good at it. The first time you try something new, you're not effective. You're assuming that you're effective. You're not. It takes you sometimes 3, 4, 5, even 6 weeks to get good at something new. Give yourself a break. Frequency. If a child is asked a lot, then it will take longer. Keep doing it. The chart works. It does take longer. So the frequency. How often are you implementing the strategy? Oh, I did it once a week. That's not enough, right? Every day, as much as possible, try that strategy consistently. And when I say consistent, if you have 2 teachers in a classroom, both teachers should use it as much as possible. So consistency is not just frequency, but as many adults that are using the strategy. Of course, it's helpful if the parent does it at home. But if they don't, we've still been able to change challenging behaviors by being consistent at school. I'm going to end this section with a quote from Maya Angelou. Nothing will work, honey, unless you do. Some ideas? Well, don't forget, you can download all these materials on teacherspayteachers.com and go to my store, Angela Cersei's Simple Solutions Store. Hey, if you like these videos, I have more of them. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and look at all the different resources I have for you. Lastly, if you liked my ideas, well, let's connect. I love to come to sites. I do workshops for schools, parent organizations, and I love sharing ideas on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So please connect with me. Thanks for listening.